going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be doing a lower ball joint on my 2001 Honda CR-V. But if you have a 97 all the way up to 2001, this works for the same. That's the same part number, same ball joint. If it's the all-wheel drive and two-wheel drive, it's not going to matter because it's in the very front. So it's the front lower ball joint. I am doing the passenger side. I already did the driver's side maybe about a month ago. So I didn't record it because I need to get it done, because that ball joint was squeaking and it was squealing whenever I was turning. So whenever you hear that, that means it's metal to metal contact and that needs to be replaced ASAP. So I didn't record it, but since I bought two of them, I had to do the passenger side now. So I'm gonna do the passenger side right now, and yeah, so let's just get into the video, guys. Alright guys, so this from O'Reilly's. You go to any local parts store that's near you. That is the part number. It will focus. There you go. That's the part number for the ball joint. I'm pretty sure it's the same part number, even if it's AutoZone O'Reilly's. But the front lower. Let me put this down real quick. Alright guys, so this is what it looks like. She's looking beautiful. Alright guys, that's what it looks like. And as you guys can see, there are some grease fittings, so you could add some more grease. If you have a grease gun, add some more grease. I believe there's already grease in here. It should be. Last time I opened it up and there was already grease. I opened up the old one. So, but if you have a grease gun, add some more grease. I don't have a grease gun, but I will need to buy one in the future. So yeah, so this is a greasable ball joint. Now there's the fitting to add grease, and there's a cap. Now I tried to install this with the fitting, the grease fitting, and it didn't work. So you would literally need to add grease before installing it. Then you have to put the cap back on, because there is literally the wheel bearing literally sits like right on top. So there's no way you'll be able to add that grease fitting on there, which I thought would have been nice. Then you got your snap ring, and then you got your cotter pin or safety pin, whatever you want to call it. So that's that. So let me first things first, we gotta take off the wheel, and then from there we'll start taking it apart. Alright guys, so now with the wheel off, to do the lower ball joint, so we gotta do a couple of things, okay? First off, we have to take off this upper ball joint, and look at that one. I'm gonna need to replace that one too. So that's gonna be literally all the suspension, like these inner tie rod, those boots, the whole tie rods, all this. Actually I changed them out probably about 2 years ago. I don't know why the boot is like that, but it is what it is. But I'm changing all this out. I'm changing out, pretty soon I'll be changing out the whole strut, well, the whole coil assembly. What else? The lower control arm bushings. I might just change out the whole lower control arm itself, actually. Depending, I don't know. If I can find a shop that would press these bushings in, because these bushings, you probably will have to get them pressed in or use a hammer. But if I can find a shop that will press them in for pretty cheap, then I might as well just do that. But pretty soon I'm going to be changing the upper control arm, because I know all these bushings are already bad. This ball joint is already bad. And plus, whenever you buy an upper control arm, it usually already comes with a new upper ball joint. So that kind of saves you a little bit of money, and I guess in a way. But yeah, that's going to be all for later video. I'm not sure when. I did buy a couple of parts. I did buy, what did I buy? Actually, I bought new motor mounts. And I know I put some aftermarket motor mounts on this one, but it's too stiff, and I'm gonna sell those and get the stock ones. So I bought some stock ones for pretty cheap on rockauto.com. So yeah, guys, so first things first, it's up to you however you want to do it, but to change out the whole ball joint and to put a new one, we will have to take this apart. So we gotta disconnect the upper ball joint from your arm, whatever you want to call this, your arm, whatever. We need to disconnect this brake line right here, get that out of the way. We will need to take off your brake caliper and your brake pads, put that off to the side somewhere. Then we gotta take off this axle nut. So then we got to take off this outer tie rod, the end, and then break off the lower ball joint, the bolt right there, which that's not the actual bolt anyway. So yeah, there's a lot of steps to this, man. So it's a very time consuming thing just to change out a lower ball joint, but it needs to get done. So let's and then also we also have to take off the sensor for the ABS, which your axles have like an ABS ring around it, so you need to take off the sensor for it. So there's a lot of things that I need to get done. But I did buy Harbor Freight that air ratchet, the 3. I think it's a 3/8 or a half. But since I have my air compressor, I'm pretty excited about that. So I'm gonna start off by showing you guys the tools, what you guys will need. Alright guys, so here's a tools that you guys will need. Let's focus. So you will need a sledgehammer. I have 2 needle nose pliers, a ratchet. Maybe you have air tools, even better. 10 millimeter, of course. You will need a 17 millimeter for the lower ball joint, and size 14. A size 14 for the upper ball joint. Your tie rod end back here, and I think that's about it for the 14. You will need, I think the 14 is right here too for the brake caliper. That one uses a 14 as well. Then you will need a 36 millimeter, and if you have an air impact gun, cool. I don't have one, so I do have a 3/4 inch breaker bar. It's somewhere in my tools. So yeah guys, so first thing what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break it off from here. Now I'm not gonna break it all the way. I'm gonna loosen it up, and I'm gonna just get this from this being bolted up. You'll see right now in the video what I'm talking about. So I gotta take off this this cotter pin. I'm gonna loosen up this 14 millimeter, and with the sledgehammer I'm gonna hit it. You're gonna hit it right here, literally right here, so this breaks the contact. And then from there I'll probably do the outer tie rod end. I'll break that one apart too. I'll get it loose. Then will do the axle nut. I'll get that one all the way off, and the brake caliper, I'll have it out there somewhere just hanging. And yeah, so yeah, there's a lot of steps to do this lower ball joint, but if I could do it, you guys could do it. So yeah, let's get to it. so all I did right now, as you guys seen, I took off that cotter pin, I loosened up the 17 millimeter, so I had to use my ratchet wrench. So this bolt right here is a 17 millimeter. Get it loose, don't take it all the way. So I'm gonna turn it until I can't see the threads, like right there it's even with the threads, just to be safe, and I'll show you why. So because well, I'll tell you guys why too, because we're gonna beat it just in case for some reason I have a bad, I can't hit this part, I can't get my target, my aim right. Instead of it hitting the threads and me having to go buy a new ball joint, it's gonna hit this, that will save the threads. So I leave it about right there, so that way just in case I miss from hitting this, it doesn't mess up the threads on that. So just a little safety measure, I guess. So I took off this this brake line. There's two 10 millimeters. Everything I take off, I'm putting it back so that way I don't lose it. Okay. Then you have your ABS sensor. You got one 10 millimeter up here. Then you have another one right here, and then you have two of them right here. So all four of these bolts are 10 millimeter. This you could just put it to the side somewhere. That's fine right there. Your two bolts for your brake caliper, they are 14 millimeter. One up here, one down here. You could take off the brake pads. They are gonna fall off once you're literally hitting all this. So now this one, since the camera's over there, you guys can't really get a good angle, but it's literally the same thing as the upper. Let's see if we'll focus. So you got your cotter pin. This one up here is a 17 millimeter bolt. I'm gonna do the same thing as I did for the upper ball joint. I'm gonna take off this cotter pin, safety pin, whatever. Loosen up the 17 millimeter bolt. Not all the way, just loosen it up. Then you're gonna hit it with the hammer right here, so it breaks up. It comes apart. And yeah, so let me start recording, and then I'll explain exactly what I'm doing. So. Alright guys, so you guys just seen I was hitting it right here, and now it's loose. There's that one done. I did do the outer ball joint. That one's loose as well. Like I said, do the same thing. Loosen it where it'll cover up the threads, so when you hit it, you guys don't damage the threads. So hit it right here. Now if you guys have a fork, a ball joint separator, that's even better, which I actually have a tool. Alright guys, so here's a ball joint separator. I mean, I could have used it for each one, but the hammer method just works a lot easier on that. But for this lower ball joint, you will need this. Now if you have a ball joint separator, it's like that fork, like that silver fork, and it's like a long pole. You hit it with the hammer, and the more you hit it in, the more it'll come apart, it'll separate, right? Now you could use that, but the only thing is that those ones actually rip the boot of the ball joint. What's up?
A whole pocket.
Yeah. So those, if you use that ball joint, the fork, the separator, it messes up the boot. Which of course, since you guys are watching this video, you guys are replacing the lower ball joint. So, but for any reason you guys have to take off this whole arm. So let's say you guys have to take off this whole arm, this assembly, for, let's say you got to change the axle. This is where you would use this. This will actually save the boot, and it'll separate the ball joint without you guys actually ripping the boot or the sleeve on the ball joint. So supposedly, which I'll show you guys right now in the video how it works, which is pretty nice. It's I actually like this. This is from Harbor Freight. I'm not sure how much I paid for this, but if you guys have this, if you guys ever go Harbor Freight, I suggest you guys buying this just in case you guys ever have to replace a axle or something. Which pretty soon this is gonna be due for a axle change. Yeah, man, I want to replace as much stuff as I can, because sooner or later I want to take this thing off-roading, and the suspension on this thing just really sucks. So, and I know the axles, I'm not sure if it's the axles, but whenever I turn, I hear like some I don't know how to describe it, but it kind of like shakes a little bit whenever I turn. So I want to suggest it has to be my axles, maybe. I know it's not my outer tie rods, because like I said, I changed them out 2 years ago, but maybe it is. Maybe it is my outer tie rods. I don't know, or my inner tie rods. So who knows? But pretty soon all of this will be changed up, man. So yeah. But for now, let's worry about the ball joint. So I'm gonna loosen it up all the way. I'm not sure what size that is, but it should be 17 or 19. And then I'll put in my tool, and then I'll show you guys how it works. Alright guys, so with that part, you're gonna beat it into the boot on top. I'll give you guys a better view of it right now. So the top piece, there's the ball joint right there, and then you beat it right underneath it. So you guys get a better view. Maybe, hopefully. So you guys just beat it with the hammer, the sledgehammer. Yeah, so just something like that. Then this bottom piece right here, this bottom piece goes underneath the bolt, just like those. So the tighter you get this, it's gonna press this upwards, making the ball joint come out. Now you're gonna have it like that set up. Let me show you guys. So like that. Let me give you guys a better view. There you go. So that bottom piece goes underneath the bolt like that. Tighten it up. That will be right there by the boot, so separate it. Once you tighten this up, this is a 19 millimeter. You're gonna keep tying that up to 19 millimeter. With the 19 millimeter, you can use a wrench. I got my my electric impact. I'm gonna use that, and the tighter it goes, this will separate. So. Alright, next we're gonna remove this axle nut. This is a 36 millimeter right there. And all we're gonna do is just break it apart. Now this one, if you have an air impact that has good enough torque to remove it, good. If you guys don't, I have a 3/4 inch breaker bar. This will hopefully take it apart. So we'll find out right now. Alright, now with everything off, that's off, you can remove every little bolt that still is in contact, like your outer tie rod, your lower ball joint, your upper ball joint. Remove that. Then you're gonna slide this forward and just or hit this with the hammer. Hit it with the hammer so it breaks off right here. I don't have a rubber mallet, so I'm gonna have to use that. I'm gonna be careful hitting that with that. yeah. Anyway, so hit it. If you guys have a rubber mallet, the rubber hammer, whatever, a rubber sledgehammer, whatever you guys want to call it, hit it. Hopefully it comes off. If it doesn't, then use a regular sledgehammer. But take off any remaining bolt that's still intact, and then you'll be able to slide this whole arm, this whole assembly off. And then from there, we'll get to the ball joint and we'll beat it out. So here we go. Alright guys, so now literally you could buy a ball joint press to get that out. I'm gonna do the old-fashioned way and just beat it out with the sledgehammer. I'm gonna spray some PB Blaster on it though. I'm not sure that's gonna help, but hopefully it does something. There we go. Get all of that soaked up. Alright, so now I'm gonna let that soak and I'm gonna beat it with the hammer. Alright guys, so I beat the old one out, literally. So it's like that. You'll hit it right here on the side. So literally it's gonna be right here. I didn't record it because I didn't have my stand in. My neighbors were watching me. So you'll hit it like right here until it starts coming out. And then it'll come out, and then once you can't hit it from right here, then use your fingers or be careful and hit it on top of right here, this bolt. So this is the old one. That's caca right there. We don't need that anymore. Now we got the new one. If you have grease, put some grease. If you have some oil, put some oil. What is this? Silicone grease, whatever. I'm gonna put some silicone grease or some, if you have some WD-40, spray it right here so it goes in a lot easier. Clean this up, that way it's a lot easier to put it in. You know what they say, just spit on it just a little bit and fit her right in. There you go. Yeah guys, so just put some grease, or if you guys have some WD-40, spray in there, and then literally all we're gonna do is literally beat it back in there. So we're gonna be careful beating it back in there, but we're gonna beat it back in there. So let's do that. Alright guys, once you beat it in there, you should be good. Now you want to beat it in there until you can get that snap ring around here. Usually the ball joints are supposed to have a snap ring. The last ball joint didn't have a snap ring, so I was able to beat it out. If it does have a snap ring, you're gonna need a snap ring pliers. So you're gonna get the snap ring, which goes around right here, and I'll show you guys right now. That way you guys can get a better view. And you guys seen that I was using a socket, so it goes around the whole thing, hitting it on one side. I was doing it at first with the hammer on one side, but I didn't like that because then I'm only beating one side in instead of beating the whole thing in there. So if you beat it one side, then you gotta beat the other side to make it a lot easier. When you could just get a socket, an old socket that you're not using, put it around it, and it'll be a lot easier. So that way the whole thing goes in, not just beating it one side at a time. So little tip that I just found out myself. I'm telling you, man, sometimes, some days I learn some things all by myself. Here we go. There's a snap ring. So you're gonna do is put the snap ring around there, and you're gonna squeeze it out. This is a hassle, so let me warn you. There, it's in. Whew. Tell you, man, they're a hassle to put in. If you notice that it's not going in all the way, it's because you still have to beat the ball joint in some more. So a snap ring, it helps secure the ball joint in place. It's kind of like a condom. You don't want to use a condom, but you should use a condom. You know, that kind of thing. No? Okay, anyways. so the snap ring, it's like another, it holds the ball joint in place kind of in a way, so that way it doesn't shoot up in a way. It doesn't vibrate out, which it would take a lot for this thing to vibrate out, but that's what the snap ring's for. So that's what it's supposed to hold it in place so it doesn't vibrate up. And yeah, so we got that done. Like I said, if you guys have a grease gun, right now would be the time you put the grease insert, grease it up as much as you want. This already has grease in it. I'm pretty sure it does. I'm not gonna take it apart, but I will have to take all this off, all this whole assembly off again once I do the suspension work again. So I will be buying a grease gun soon, and I'll grease up my ball joints again soon. Not sure when, but soon. So for now, I'm gonna just cap it off with the little cap that they give you. Make sure this thing is tight, because even with this cap on, there's barely any clearance. Yeah. What? Okay. You guys could use the same what do you want to call it, the cotter pin, the safety pin. I have a whole box, so I could use new ones. But whenever you buy the ball joint, it comes with new cotter pins or safety pins. So use the one that's given and actually use it, because I seen a time where the bolt has came off of a car, and because they didn't have the cotter pin, the bolt came off and literally broke the ball joint. I seen it happen, and it was all because they didn't put the cotter pin in. I seen it happen. So please put in the cotter pin, the safety pin. It's there for a reason, so it doesn't come apart. I seen it happen, and yeah, put a cotter pin, a safety pin, use it. So now let's get back to putting everything back together. The same way we took it apart. Now it's a little bit easier. Now the only thing is I'll show you guys. Whenever you tighten everything up, you're gonna want to tighten it up good. So there, you could use a you could torque it a spec. You know, use a what do you want to call it, a torque wrench. But it's up to you. I'm pretty sure if you actually look for it, you will find the torque specs for each thing. I don't do that. I go by Ugga-Duggas. So I get about 3 Ugga-Duggas. That one up there, I get about 1 Ugga-Dugga. The outer tie rod, another Ugga-Dugga, and call it good. So let's get to putting it all back together. let's see, make sure I'm not forgetting anything. That's tight. That has tight. That is tight. That's tight. Has a safety pin. These 2 millimeters for the brake line. 14 mil. These two 14 millimeters are good. The bottom has this tight safety pin. Outer tie rod tight with the safety pin. His ABS sensor is good. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah guys, so that's pretty much it for this lower ball joint. Now, it doesn't matter what side you do it. It's the same process you're doing for the either driver's side or passenger side is the same thing for both sides. Just flip that way. Meaning, if you're on the driver's side, this brake caliper will be over here. So, yeah guys, same thing. If you guys notice, there was times where I would turn the steering wheel. So if you guys need to turn the steering wheel, go ahead and do it, because that would actually help you guys to get a better angle, to reposition yourself, that you guys have better leverage. Like I said, all those tools that I mentioned in the video, or I hope I mentioned, if you guys have them, it would really help. Like I said, there are some tools that you will need, which is one of them is a sledgehammer. You will need a sledgehammer to break apart those ball joints, like I said, or you could use your ball joint separator, whichever one you guys want to use. Like I said, I use the sledgehammer on the upper ball joint, the outer tie rod, and to me that was a little bit quicker. The outer tie rod took me a little while because I couldn't get a good angle, so that's why I had to turn the steering wheel so that way I could get a better angle when I hit it with the sledgehammer. Let's see, anything else that I'm forgetting? That's about it guys. So pretty soon I'm gonna be doing another video, and it's gonna be taking out all the strut, the whole coil assembly, the strut, coil assembly, whatever you want to call it, the shock, whatever. It's gonna be for both sides, the rear and the front. I will be replacing the upper control arm, most likely the lower control arm as well. So this whole car is gonna get a whole new suspension. It needs it. The way it rides, I don't like it. The motor mounts, I did order them. They will be coming soon. I will do another video. I did do a video last time, but I didn't really work on it. I didn't really work on it. I was really kind of explaining more about it, not really actually doing it. So I'm gonna be doing the motor mounts. It's gonna be the stock motor mounts. The ones I have right now, they're performance, meaning if you have a B series, a B18, a B16, a B20, a VTEC, anything that's modded. Let's say you're running turbo, anything. It's meant for a stiffer, for more performance engine, because of the torque. That's one of them, because of the torque, and mostly because of the torque. Because those B16s and B18s, they have a lot of torque. So, and it makes the ride, since this is just a regular stock engine, it makes the ride feel very stiff. And it's not a track car. It's just gonna be a basic, just regular daily car. But pretty soon I'm gonna be doing it to go off-roading, not go off-roading, but take it on hills, you know, enjoy it, have fun with it. So yeah guys, so last thing, once you guys are all done, you guys will just have to put the wheel back on, tighten it up, lower it, and you guys are good. So I'm not gonna show that because you guys already know what to do. But yeah guys, so make sure you guys subscribe, hit that like button, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Peace out.